Good morning, everyone. Jill Saturn, Saturn family. I'm back to you live on Wednesday morning. Um, I just want to come to you guys, talk to you guys about the love of Christ, and also, pretty much just kind of let you guys know that don't take anything for granted. Don't take anything. I mean, anything. That can be friendship, that can be anything. Parents, especially parents, don't take parents for granted. Don't take your mother, your father, your I mean anybody that treats you like their own kid, child, or don't treat them for granted. Don't take them for granted, because you only have one life, and that one life to live is to share, you know um of course, with God, and everything that God has planned for us, we share with each other. But besides that, you want to share the memory, you want to share the moment, you want to share the precious moment with them, and you want to share every second of your life with them in a way that when they do, or at that time of appointment, to dismiss themselves from here, from earth, to wherever they go, and just remember the kindness, the love, and everything that you already know, that it's not gonna be perfect life all the time. It will be hardship, it will be trials, and it will be tribulation, it will be struggle, you know. Um, but I just want to come to you guys live today, and just kind of open up your eyes and your hearts, and your thoughts on everything that goes on around you. Like for me, I don't have notes. I don't have any notes, and I don't. All I have is a Bible in front of me that we are gonna go through. But I don't have notes, because everything I say, like right now, I'm speaking from my heart. I talked to the Lord earlier, and I talked to the Spirit, and I just said, give me what to give me something to say, or speak through me. Let me be the vessel. And um, like I said, I don't have notes to read and go with that, because to me it's like, when you speak to somebody, you shouldn't have to remember word by word, and I mean reading word by word. We should know what to say or how to say it, because the Spirit either gonna lead you, or you're gonna say it from your heart. So I'm just speaking from my heart. I'm just speaking from my heart. About a lot of things, a lot of situation, a lot of circumstances, and I've been convicted left to right. Trust me, I've been convicted left to right. And yesterday um, was the day that really got to me, and like, you shouldn't care who you're around. That's what I'm saying. Is that no matter who you're around or who are you with, you try to make the best joy, peace, humble around. And no matter circumstances, no matter situation, it's not about them, it's not about you, it's about the Lord. The concept in this life now that I learned, it's not about us. It's not about how we function daily. It's not how we activate our life daily. It's not how we mingle among each other. It's not how we dislike each other, or hate each other, or like or love each other. It's how Christ loved us as we love others. So it's when we establish that the faithfulness that God gives us with other people, and share the unconditional love that God gave us, no matter how hard life can be, as long you have that peace and joy in your life, and how to fulfill the fulfill the journey that God wants you to fulfill. You start from point A to point B, how to get point Z. There's no looking back. There's no from Z all the way back. It's going forward, you know. And what you learn from other people, from what you learn from your pastor, the reason why I'm going with this is because Pastor Johnny, you know, taught us so much, taught us a lot, you know, how to stay blessed, how to be blessed, how to be grateful, how to be thankful, just by testimony that he went through so much, and yesterday we went to the service. You don't realize until you start walking up to the cemetery, the burial site. You don't realize how important without the council, you know, um, um, that it will if it wasn't for Pastor Johnny, it would have been the church that we have today. And we have to realize that, we have to know that. And as I was walking up, the conviction that you have in inside of you is thickened all the time. Just walking up, like you should have been there, or there's so much thing. And then, excuse me, and then you think back and you say, man, you know what? And it just hit you. It just very very hit you very hard. And so it's something to open up my eyes. I mean, something like that opened up my eyes to see the greatness that God has for each and every single one of us. And he was a counsel. He was a counsel for our church. And he passed the torch down to Pastor Debbie, and Pastor Debbie took over. And you know what? It's same exact teaching, same exact words, same exact everything. And he left like I said, he left a legacy behind that will forever remain in our heart, in our spirit, in our soul. He helped me so much, and I want to talk about that in the next video. And I want to share with you guys, that the powerful man, a child of God, who is the counsel for our church, that brighten up the church every single time that he step his foot inside that church, and and he always say, because I always shake his hand, and he'll give me a handshake because he doesn't shake nobody's hand, you know, and and it's I understand why he doesn't shake nobody's hand, because it's hitchhiker. You don't want hitchhiker, in your life. And so a lot of times, but he shake my hand and I turn around, and after I'm done, I shake his hand again. He'll be like, oh, okay, only for Joey. Those moments like that matter. Or he'll walk out the door and look at me and say, there's a seat waiting for you. Or don't get in trouble. Don't do this and don't do that. Those are the things that I remember. As I was going, I go to church, and so when he was there, and I was going, and so it's some is establishment that I understand that, I got to get back to do what the Lord is asking me to do, and balance myself, with business, and then be partaking in the service. So, I was talking to a brother yesterday after the service. I was talking to the brother yesterday. Um, I told him, I said, you know what? I'm glad that they took I'm glad that I was able to stop going to Oakdale. I'm glad that I was able to, slow down a little bit, because I was getting over myself. And it's like, if you can't make time for God, there's something wrong there. There is something very wrong. You have to make time for God. No matter if you're busy working or not, it's you can't say you can God can do all things for you. That's the only thing that I can say, that God can do all things for you. But if you step away from God a little bit and start doing your own thing, thinking that you can do everything, at that moment, like my Pastor David said, you might have that for the moment, but it's only gonna last for that moment. It's not gonna last forever to where you don't have to worry that God's gonna take care of you. You know, you want to do everything on your own, and then when everything crumbled, everything fell, then what? You're gonna turn back to God. You're gonna turn back to the Lord. You're gonna ask the Lord to, all type of stuff. But all I want to say is that, don't take anything for granted, because you will be convicted. You will go through it. You will suffer. When I say suffer, it's that you will feel it. You know, and and when you are a prophet of the Lord, and here to teach, here to surrender and give to the Lord wholehearted and humble, and to be kind and to be loved. He is loved by many, many. And he could tell if somebody's in trouble. He could tell without even being there that, that there's something wrong. And I remember I was getting baptized over there at his house, and after I got baptized, and Sister Tiffany called me and said, "Hey," and called me over there, said, "Pastor Johnny want to speak with you." So I went over there, and he would just went straight to my wife, and just talked about, look, the sister is good sister, and I mean, there are all I want to say is that he just want everybody to be happy. That's kind of man he is. He just want everybody to be happy, be joy, be blessed. When he pray for you, that blessing stay with you. The miracle follows you everywhere you go. You don't give up. You don't surrender. You don't surrender. You don't give up. Because when a pastor prays over your business or your marriage or anything, best and believe you don't give up. You have to keep on going. You have to keep on moving with those words, with those prayers, with those blessings, with those miracle calling. Because if you give up on what the pastor pray for you, or stuff like that, you throwing everything away that he's praying for. You throwing it away, and it's like you don't respect his prayer. He wants you to be blessed, full of blessing, so that you're not just helping your family out or yourself out. You're helping the congregation out. Whatever comes in, he will supply you with everything that you need. And the blessing that was blessed by Pastor Johnny to so many, that I hope you guys keep his words, because I will forever keep his words. I will forever recognize his kindness, his unconditional love, and he will forever be missed, but he's always in our heart, because he left a legacy, And after the service, gentleman was saying that he's asking 3 requests from all of us that was there. One is to remember who Pastor Johnny is, to remember how he is and how he taught you. 2, to remember how he left behind the legacy, how he taught you, how he shared with you, share with other people, and just be grateful, be thankful, that whatever that time that you got to spend with him, remember those good times. 3 is to share with other people. Is to share with other people that don't know about God. Share with a good time. The teaching, and that's what I'm gonna read right here. Those are the 3 things that they request. that we do is that keep his memory, keep his legacy, keep his teaching alive, and share with other people what he has done in your life. You know what Pastor John had done in your life, and so I will always remember that. I will always remember those words, and I will always share with other people what Pastor John has done in my life. You know, and so there is a lot of people that I say that I'm grateful today. I am thankful today, it because of the counsel that I receive. You know, through Pastor Johnny and also Pastor Debbie. You know, and I'm grateful for that. I will forever hold that in my heart, in my life, and teach that to my daughter, teach that to my wife, or teach that to other people that what they taught me. You know, and all the notes that I took, all the life that I watched. I mean, um, um, I there's a lot of how you say, when you establish yourself in that level of high general, and to be speaking for the Lord, and receiving every single word, and go out here, come out here and start teaching and build a foundation, build a congregation, and then you have a lot of other generals that coming into our congregation, and because they feel that there is a power, the resurrection power in our church, that has healing, has miracle done in their life, change their life, change their mind, give them everything that they need, the tools how to follow, the tools how to live by. And you know, and so you don't realize, like I was saying to the brothers yesterday, you don't realize until that moment come, and then it will convict you, it will hit you all type of way, and you just have to say, Lord, forgive me for that, you know, and make it right, you know, because every single one of us need counsel in our life. If we are lacking, if we are without counsel, we are lack of counsel, teaching, knowledge, lack of knowledge, wisdom, all everything that the Lord wants us to know. If we are lack of that, we will definitely fall. Okay, I'm gonna read you guys this. You know, Pastor Johnny are like a spiritual father to all of us. You know, he's like of a spiritual father. You know, he will make jokes, and we're not gonna have that anymore. You know, and he will make funny jokes, and he will all when he comes in, he makes jokes, and that's kind of pastor he is. Is that he comes in, he makes jokes, you know, that makes people laugh, have people in joyful mode before the service starts. You know, and so you know, we won't have that, but we will have that forever in our heart. We just don't have it physically, but spiritually in our heart, we're always gonna have the memories in our life. So I know that he's resting in heaven, receiving his reward. I know that he's home with the Lord in the kingdom of God. He's home in the mansion. He's home watching down. You know, he's still up there, probably making jokes. You know, having the angels laughing up there. You know, there are just remember the goodness of his heart on earth. You know, and Pastor Debbie will always say that he will always be rebellious when it come down to a lot of things. But that's how God really convicted him and put him in place where now he say, okay, man, I will do it. You know, surrendering and you know, these are the things that I learned, that you can't do it on your own. You cannot do anything on your own. You have to let God help you with a lot of things. And but you have to understand this: when you give it to God fully. And I just want to share with you guys what God done in my life, and just remembering what Pastor Johnny did for me. And if I let that fall, if I let everything go and start walking in the world, I disrespect him every single area. I would disrespect Pastor Debbie, if I do that. And I would never do that. I will walk in a path where the Lord wants me to go. I will walk in a path that my spiritual mother is asking me to do. So I just want you guys to know that it's important who's around you, who's teaching you, who's showing you, and who's giving you the words, the encouragement, and help you build up your spiritual faith so that you can walk and how to balance your faith and your blessing at the same time. Because don't look at your blessing and forget about your faith. You can have faith, but without the blessing, there's nothing. It's just like faith without action is nothing. You can work, you can do all type of things that God bless you with, but don't forget where the faith came from. Where the blessing came from is your faith. So remember that. Plan fell for lack. This is in Proverbs 15. We're gonna read verse 22. Plan fell for the lack of counsel, but with many advisors they succeed. You see, that's huge. Just that verse right there is huge. And as yesterday when we was at the service, that's what came to me. That's why I wanted to read you this. It was in my head the whole time I was standing there. The whole time I was standing there, literally. The whole time I was standing there. This verse, Proverbs 15:22, hit me so hard. Hit me so hard. Proverbs 15:22. Plan fail for the lack of counsel, but with many advisors they succeed. Now, when Pastor Johnny goes to Pastor Debbie, you got Pastor Nancy, you got Dr. Dufresne, you have Jerry Chevelle, you have so much, Jesse Duplant. I mean, those are the general. Kenny Copeland, those are the general that have a lot of in our church, and with many you will succeed. Without counsel you will fail. Without the knowledge and wisdom in your life you will fail. And the whole time I was there walking up, this chapter came into my heart. That's what I'm sharing with you right now. Is that plan fail for the lack of counsel, but with many advisors, they succeed. A person finds joy in giving an apt reply, and how good is timely words. Don't forget about anything that your pastor has spoken to you about. Till now. I watched Jerry Savelle. I watched Jesse Duplant. Even though Dr. Dufresne and Jerry Savelle went home to the Lord, I still involved in their video. I still find the video and I still watch it, and I still, it's because I watch Pastor Debbie, I watch Pastor Johnny, I watch everything. Why? It's because they hold the key in your faith. They hold the key in your faith. And that faith is for you to learn how to adapt into the blessing flow that comes into your life. Pastor Nancy talks a lot about healing, a lot about faith, a lot about the standard of faith, exceptional expectation, high expectation of faith, and who you're around will help you build that faith, help you build the foundation of your faith, and so when we don't have that leadership, we don't have the counsel, there's nowhere to turn to. You can turn to the world, but the world only will give you so much. To where now they want things back. They want things in return. But God doesn't ask for anything in return. He does not ask for anything in return. All He wants to do is just continue to bless you, to give you all that you need. And it doesn't have to be finance. It doesn't have to be business. It could just be words of wisdom. You know, words and wisdom that will help you to overcome any situation or circumstances that try to come into your life or your family or your marriage, your jobs, your finance. Everything that you have right now is because of Christ. You didn't do it on your own. You didn't do it on your own. Some way, somehow, God sent someone or something to come into your life and assist you to get you to where you are at today. Get you to where you are at today. Put you in a position where you can do all things, so that you remember that, you know what, I didn't do this on my own. God did it for me. God gave me the strength and ability to do this. The strength and ability to do this. You know, it could be any jobs. It doesn't have to be landscaper. It doesn't have to be lawn service. You know, it could be any job that the Lord bless you with that your heart desire. You know, Brother Jason, yesterday, my wife was talking to him, and I guess they had talked a long time ago, and he came to share the testimony with my wife, how he got the job in Applebee. Applebee, Smart and Final. That was so precious. That was so blessing that Jason came and did that for, with my wife. You know what? Because they talked, and the word of encouragement, the prayer, just the word of encouragement, the knowledge and wisdom that share among each other in a congregation is something huge. That no one have, but the family of God, but the family of our church, and just family of God, period. That no one can have. If you don't get tapped into the spiritual realm with the Lord Jesus Christ, you will not understand anything that what He's trying to say to you in your lifetime. And I appreciate yesterday that Brother Jason came and spoke to my wife and shared the testimony with my wife regarding his blessing. And so it's things like that makes you realize and understand that, you know what? Hey, I appreciate everything that God gives me. I appreciate everything that the Lord shared with me. I appreciate everything that God put in my life. Everything, the smallest thing. I start my business. I started the business that God blessed me with nothing. And so I used to say that, with nothing. I used to say that. I used to say this. But then I remember what Dr. George Chevelle said. You can never say, I started this with nothing. God somehow, some way got involved in your wanting in your life. God got involved in your life and bless you with your heart desire. Gave it to you, even you didn't have nothing. But now you have Him. You have Him. You have Him. So you did have something. And I said, okay, you're right. I have the Lord. I have the Lord to help me start my business. So I did have something. When we think that we don't have anyone or anything to help us out with, that's when this comes in. Plan failed, lack of counsel. My counsel came from God. My counsel came from God and gave me all that I need. All that I need. Supply me with all that I need. You know, and that's what Pastor Donnie will always say. God will supplies you with all that you need. God will bless you with all that you need. Words like that should be engraved inside of you. And to open up your heart, to open up your eyes, to bring that no matter what, even though He's not here to continue to lead us, to show us, Pastor Debbie, came into the picture and put the faith of Harvest to Outreach on the front page. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful and I'm joyful for that. And I will always stand right next to her, and make an oath or covenant that I am gonna stand next to her. Because we all should. Because we step away from the congregation will be lack of counsel. And we can't be in lack of counsel and thinking that we're gonna make it in this world on our own. We can't. The devil will make you feel some type of way. The devil will make you feel like you're nothing. You're not worthy to go to that church. You're not worthy to feel this way, that way. And hey, stop. You're not a child. You're not a child. You have to grow up and say, you know what? Hey, I'm not doing this for anyone else other than the Lord. I'm not doing this for anything else other than the Lord. We are grateful. We should be grateful, and we are thankful for everything that the Spirit of God has led us and showed us an establishment of a congregation and give us all that we need. Pastor John has said, you have all that you need right here. Pastor Debbie said, miracles flow in this congregation. I see that in myself. In myself. When I was addicted, I was involved in drugs and alcohol so deep to where, I didn't eat for days. I didn't shower for days. I didn't brush my teeth for days. I was looking so skinny. I was looking so messed up. Always wake up in the morning. It was just horrible. And I remember the whole time. This is the honest truth. This is the words that people in our congregation that was there. Pastor Debbie called me out front. Literally called me up front. Said, brother, I want you to stay strong. The devil is gonna try to steal you. The devil is gonna steal you. He's gonna try to steal you. And she prayed over me, and wow. From that moment that she prayed and she said those words to me, I don't know how long, but I'm assuming maybe a week. My whole life just crumbled, just that fast. The devil was just waiting for me, because because it was the lack of knowledge, it was the lack of counsel, it was so much thing. Even though I was weak, I was trapped in the darkness and in alcohols and street life and so much things, right? My thoughts start turning, and I remember, what Dr. Jacob said, Michael Jacob, and he called me up there. He was praying over me, and he said, "This is your church. God placed you on this in this church. This is your church. You don't go no other church. You don't go nowhere. This is your church. And those words, if the I guess I'm not guessing. I know that it's the word of wisdom, the scales of word of wisdom that given to me and say, you know what, you don't walk away from this church. There's no other church gonna help you like this church. There's no other church gonna save you like this church. There's no other church gonna open up your heart like this church opened up your heart and literally humble you and start you all over again. You're gonna go through it, but you will defeat the principality. You will defeat. But you know what? I was so down. I was so down. But I was in my head. I was remembering everything what my pastor was saying. I was remembering everything that my pastor was saying. But I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do what they were saying. But I remember what they're saying. I just couldn't do it. I didn't have the powers and the authority, the resurrection powers to do it. I didn't have nothing. I didn't have nothing to help me with. You know? And again, I didn't have nothing. That's the word, is that will fail you, is that you always think like that. Until I got down to my knees, like literally cry, break down, broken. I mean, broken. Demons is all over. You want to see demons? You want to see devil, the dark force? All around me. All around me. And as you know, I just got down to my knees right here in the living room and call on to my Father and call on to the Heavenly Father. You know, I didn't even ask the angel. I didn't even ask the spiritual angel. I just went straight to God. I just talked straight to God. Help me. I can't do this. I know it. I just can't do it. I don't understand it. No, I don't know how to do it. I need your guidance. I need your help right now. I don't care if you put me in prison. Put me in prison. Put me in jail. Put me in jail because I cannot do this on my own out here. You know, sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you have to sacrifice. Sometimes you have to give all that you have. Surrender. The trials and tribulation will hit you upside your head. But hey, you know what? I know there will be light at the end of the tunnel. You know, we all came from far short glory of God. You know, Dr. Jacob, Jerry Savelle. There are so many pastors, the general that walk the same walk that I walk. Tiffany's father, you know, Tiffany's dad, you know, went through the same thing. We went through the same exact thing, except I'm not a pastor. I'm not a missionary or anything, you know, but we came from the same exact background. Pastor Owens, you know, we came from the same background. We came from drug addiction, alcoholism. We came from the background where there's trapped of the devil doing. You know, until we look around and say, look at this, man. Look at what we can lose in the blink of our eyes. We ask for it and we stomp all over it. We ask for it and we stomped all over it. We ask for it and we just keep on stomping all over it. And then it gets to the point where God, I repent. And just help me stop stomping all over your blessing. You know, Pastor Johnny prayed for over our marriage, and I want to keep that going. Honor him. Honor him. You know, I want to keep the marriage going. You know, and you know what? It's a blessing that he prays over our marriage, that protect our marriage. And the devil, don't do me wrong, the devil will always gonna come in. The devil will always gonna come in. Excuse me. But you have to find a way how to defeat that attack. Just by remembering everything that your pastor left behind. Everything that Pastor Johnny left behind is for you and I to learn, to grow. Even though it's gone, it's not forever. You know? And that's all I want to say is that don't take anything for granted. You might not need it at that moment, a point in time, at that time, but always keep it in the back of your head. Keep it tucked in your heart, so that when situation and circumstances arise, you have the battle tools to help you defeat anything that come into your path. And that weapon that I have is what Pastor Johnny left behind to Pastor Debbie. And I will always remember that because of this verse. Plan failed for the lack of counsel, but with many advisors, they succeed. Remember that. It means a lot. That verse right there makes you realize, you know, it wasn't for Pastor Johnny. It wasn't for Pastor Debbie. It wasn't for Pastor Nancy. You know, like I said, Brother Stephen, Reverend Stephen from Marietta, Dufresne Ministry. I mean, I love his teaching. You know, like I always say, he's bold about his preaching, especially when it came to miracle, you know, or your faith. I mean, just uncut, you know. So all I want to say is that, you know, God will forever be with us as long as we have Pastor Johnny in our life. When you have Pastor Johnny in your life, your spirit will always remain in the highest standard with us on earth until we see him again in heaven. You know, so you guys stay blessed and be blessed. And always remember, love thy neighbor. God bless you and stay blessed.